We are delighted that you are all here this evening. We have a very special presentation, and I am here to introduce Harry Burrell.
Thank you. Well, I am very excited about these awards tonight because there's something very unique about our movement in that our movement is young, beginning with SCA, which is our oldest program of 50 some odd years from 1957. But the rest of our programs after that are 20, 30 years old. We're unique in a movement in that a lot of the people who founded our programs, who are the visionaries who created this movement, are still with us and are still running their programs, and we get to know them and work with them. And when Sally spoke earlier today about standing on the shoulders of others, we've stood on the shoulders of a lot of people, and those people are within us and among us. For me personally, the folks who are going to get recognized tonight are people who've been role models for me for a long time, been resource people, been people I've looked up to for a very long time. I know that everything we're doing now in many ways is because of what they did, the foundation, the vision that they left for us. So this is a permanent new award for the Core Network. We had a lot of nominations that were really outstanding. It was very difficult to cull it down to the folks who are going to get the award tonight. But we're going to keep those nominations, and we have other folks who will recognize in ensuing years coming on. But the inaugural class is an unbelievable group of folks, and I'm going to let David Meraki, you all know David, but he's the director of the California Conservation Corps, who's been in this movement since 1978, so knows this stuff personally probably better than any of us, and he's going to recognize first our folks from the great state of California. So David.
Well, it is my really great honor to present the first Core Legacy Award to the incredible Bruce Saito, a director of the incredible Los Angeles Conservation Corps. Bruce has devoted his entire career to the Corps, and he has the legacy to show for it. He started with the California Conservation Corps just as the Corps that I now direct was getting started, and he helped lay a foundation that's been strong enough for my Corps to now last for 35 years, now serve for 35 years. Bruce led the startup of the Los Angeles Conservation Corps that started 2.5 decades ago, from a Corps of 27 Corps members to one that now engages over 13,000 young people a year. A new fact that I've learned while I've been here at the forum, even though I've known Bruce for a long time, I never knew this, that one of the most incredible evidences of Bruce's impact on Los Angeles can be found at the corner of Grand and 37th in Los Angeles. And if you go there or you pass by there on the 110 freeway, there is a building-size mural. And that mural it pictures Cesar Chavez, Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, and Bruce Saito. You know, if that's not enough, Bruce's impact extends far, far beyond Los Angeles. He serves on a number of state boards, including the State Board of Forestry. And just to show you what his influence is in Sacramento, the state capitol, Bruce and I were walking on the north steps of the state capitol, and we encountered two state senators, and Bruce is laughing because this is true, state senators from, well, I guess with districts in his area. They bowed. They bowed to Bruce. I've never seen that happen. But on the other hand, you know, Bruce is the first one, you know, to pick up a tool, work side by side with his Corps members. He knows the name of each and every one of his 300 young adult Corps members. He's the hardest working guy in one of the hardest working Corps on the planet. And it's my great honor to present this award to my colleague, my really good friend, and one really great Corps leader, Bruce Saito. Bruce, hey, when do you take it out of here?
Thank you, David. A heads up to Sam and others, I'm not going to be long because, as most of you know, I do not relish in these moments of recognition. And it's not that I'm a shy kind of introvert, but really the accolades and awards should go to all of you, my colleagues and peers and friends, and all part of this core family. So a couple of disclaimers to begin. I've been really upset and angry with the staff at the LA Conservation Corps for a little over a month now when they secretly applied for this, or I guess put forward my name. And I was very bothered that they would even think of the notion or idea of nominating me. So the culprits behind all this kind of movement at the Corps, at the LA Conservation Corps, are all on disciplinary action. And if they ever do this again, they're going to hear about it. And it's not because I first thought this was for all the old folks, and I'm really not that old enough to be a legend. But it really, again, like I said, there are so many folks here so deserving of this. But I really, truly appreciate the recognition because as I thought about the last couple of days and flying over here, it's like the speaker today. He drove here 6 hours and he had a lot of time to tweak or revise his speech. I didn't have one, but I did give it some thought and some consideration. And it really, it's an incredible honor to be even recognized or held in the same breath as, again, some of my colleagues and friends and staff and peers that are here today. Another disclaimer, though, that I hadn't planned on is that, yes, there is this big mural. I mean, it's huge in Los Angeles. But Sister Teresa and Mother Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi, and some of the others, they're on the other side of the mural, and they're bigger. And I'm at the corner of this mural. And I frequently, I don't know if the community of South Central knows this, but I frequently, not frequently, I go by there every few months because I have to wipe off the pigeon dew on the mural. But there really is a mural. And the other disclaimer is I think that senator bowed because he thought I was a Zen Buddhist priest from his district, and he got me mixed up with somebody else. But I don't think it was in reverence to me. So who I am is, again, some of you that didn't hear, but our motivational speaker this morning he started with who I am. So the slides of me here are me as a baby, naked at 2 months. We don't have the slides, sorry. So who I really am is exactly what David has said. I have spent over 30 years of my life contributing to this core movement. And it maybe wasn't by accident, but it's been an incredible pleasure and an incredible experience. And it's only been made possible because of partnerships and networking and relationships that I've developed with all of you. I also want to say and remind folks that, like Rob said earlier today, and like so many people have said, we are here because of the young folks and the Corps members that we work with every day that come back and tell us their incredible stories, share with us their trials and tribulations and the challenges that they face each and every day. And that's why we are here. It's also fantastic and great that we can develop some parks, create some open spaces, plant lots of trees, and create incredible energy efficiency programs along the way. But I am here and will continue to be here because of the young folks that we get to hear from every day, that we are inspired by each and every month, and that continue to make our lives not only enriched but better off. And so for the Corps family and Corps movement here, I want to thank you and appreciate you for all that you've given me. You've given me the drive to do a little bit more when things have been a little tough. You've given me the motivation to really create those partnerships and be sometimes that listening and lending ear. And you've given me the light. You've shown me the light at the sometimes very far in the distance tunnel to really try to do better and try to make this world a better place. Thank you.
You notice Bruce and I, we didn't take the award out of the box because we did not want it to be the first Corps Legacy Award to be dropped and broken. And I really want to see in the next Corps Network newsletter a picture of that mural. We have to have a picture of that mural. All right, well, next it's my honor to present the next Corps Legacy Award to the awesome Sam Duran from the incredible Urban Corps of San Diego. Sam and I joined the California Conservation Corps on the same day, January 22nd, 1978. So I want to say, for the record, February 12th, 2012, I am not bitter that he is getting the award and I'm not. When Sam and I joined, it was session 8 of the CCC, and so it was right there at the beginning. We all got the Russian flu, so we didn't get much orientation or anything like that. But it was Sam. He was amongst those folks that created this Corps that it was well represented by that slide that you saw. That had the workforce development, it had the education, it had the environmental impact, and it's all about service to others. You know, those were the tenets of it, and that was, there was something that had to be created, and it was created by Sam and some of the other early CCC pioneers. In 1989, Sam became the founder and first employee of the Urban Corps of San Diego with a massive budget of $120,000. Since that time, the Urban Corps has graduated 10,000 Corps members from the program, and including 1,400 of those Corps members who earned their high school diploma during their time in the Corps. Sam's dedicated his life to the Corps. He eats, sleeps, breathes the Corps, according to his staff. He's in early, he leaves late, and then he's back again on the weekends. He is proudest of the really extraordinary opportunities that he gives his young people, including sending them to Russia, and I guess getting them back to Quebec, to Mexico, to build schools in Mexico. He's built a remarkable LEED-certified green campus there, a beautiful Corps center there in San Diego, which I am very envious of, and one of these days we look out at it from the windows of our double-wide trailers, and we aspire to get there. And he started his own charter high school. So I am so proud to present this Corps Legacy Award to Sam. I don't really have room to be better about it. Sam Duran. Don't drop it. Don't drop it.
Thank you, David. It's very humbling to be here. At my age, you're not supposed to be receiving awards. You're supposed to be giving awards because there's still so much that has to be done. And so the first thing I want to do is say congratulations to all the young folks that are the Corps members of the year. We was fortunate that one of our folks got that honor a few years back. That young lady has gone on to joined the National Guard, got her EMT license, and is now an active member of the Armed Forces and serving very well. So congratulations to you. You do the movement very well by what you do and by being honored as Corps Members of the Year. That's something that nobody can take away from you. So congratulations. And also, it's very humbling to be here with Elizabeth, who is a few years younger than me. Bruce called me up, and Bruce has this sadistic little streak in him, and he says, I'm glad that somebody older than me is going to be there. And so, you know, I remember that, Bruce. So, you know, FDR once said, the greatest single resource of this country is its youth and its progress, and no progressive government can afford to ignore the needs of its future citizens for adequately schooling and for the useful work which established them as part of this economy. And so this award is dedicated to all the young people that have served as Corps members. Thank you for that. I also accept this award on behalf of the early founders of this modern day movement. And some of these names, it will ring for some of you, but the Robert Burkharts, the Martha Diepenbrocks, the Joanna Lennons, the Bill Basils, you know, those are some of the folks that had the vision that we never thought that they didn't realize what that vision, where that would go. And they demonstrated that in a collective impact, they could transform young people for a better life and also protect our environment and take that legacy the Civilian Conservation Corps started, you know, with FDR. And it's served us well. You know, we've used it and in ways that a lot of folks never thought of, weatherization, solar, or that, you know, that you guys would be texting. I don't text, by the way, so don't send me no texts. I just delete. But the Corps movement has given meaning to my life, and it tends to have that effect on people. In today's world, you have a whole slew of leaders selfishly dedicated to transforming lives, and as my good friend and colleague, Bruce Saito, running a $37 million operation, who the hell ever thought a nonprofit could be at that point, you know, starting out when the first couple of years him and Martha were trying to put together some cakewalk or something to raise a few dollars just to pay the Corps members. And you see the things that they have done in Los Angeles, and it makes us all envious. And the biggest envy that I have of the Los Angeles Conservation Corps is their scholarship program. I think it's the biggest scholarship program in the world. And that scholarship program, it doesn't only affect and help the Corps members, which a lot of those Corps members are now staff, but what it does is it places one of those Corps members, now the first person in that family that has a college education, and what does it do for that whole family? It has a whole effect there. And you know what? Thank you, Bruce, for you, and thank you, LA Corps, for what you guys do there. And then I have the young whippersnapper, Harry Burrell, who's done more for the Corps movement than most of us think most of us could do in a lifetime, really. His public service coalition has everybody excited, but it takes a whole week to read the minutes of all these incredible. But Harry, thank you for what you do, and thanks to the coalition. I mean, you guys are doing some awesome work, and you know, on behalf of all of us, thank you so much. And Mary Lee Eckerd, you know, who in California, you know, started teaching her young folks how to do fire suppression stuff, and created a whole program behind it, and was unselfishly sharing that with the rest of us, and consequently, through another program, and that program, it brought on, could I get that glass of water, because the beer is making me dry here. I normally drink Miller Lite, but, you know, because there's Corps members here, I'll drink water. Thank you. But thank you, Mary Lee, for what you've done. And then, where's Bob? I saw, oh, there's a hat here someplace. Where's Bob at? From Illinois. Oh, there you are, Bob. I'm sorry. You know, see, I knew he was the only guy who's going to be wearing a hat inside. So, you know, the stuff that you've done for the Corps, you know, thank you for that. Les, you're around here someplace too. Les takes a couple of Corps, one that's failing, and he takes 2 Corps and joins them together for 2 states and saves the 2 Corps. And thank you for that. You know, that's awesome. Or Lynn Price, I'm sorry, Lynn Price. And then, of course, there's my good friend who just happens to be, I'm like Bruce, you know, he's from Los Angeles. Everybody knows him in Los Angeles. In New Mexico, there's very few people, so everybody knows me there. But Carl Cornelius, where's Carl at? Is he still here? He left? Carl started this incredible program with a small community, and it's incredible what he has done with that program. He left the Oakland area and come to New Mexico, and now he has the politicians eating out of his hand. Those are the folks that really have made it happen. And then you have one more last person, that's Bob Hennessy, my good friend, my Irish buddy, who I miss because I can't go to Dublin without him. And he's taken and graduated 559 Corps members this year. Next year, he hopes to graduate 600 in 1 year, and has taken done about $14 million of renovations in buildings. I mean, incredible what they have done. And so I'm honored and proud to be, you know, associated with people like that. But I think that the real heroes of, are not these high-paid, you know, executives, because when you look at how many hours they put in, they really get about 50 cents an hour. They work on weekends, they work nights, they work all the time. So when you average out their pay, it's about 50 cents an hour. And, but the real heroes are the folks that, the staff members that make us all look good. They all make us look good. That's from the payroll clerk, that's from the intern to the volunteer, the work supervisor, the man in the foxhole is what I call him, that wears many hats, and everybody shoots at him, you know, from the director down to the Corps members. And you know, and so you, the work supervisor, I've been a sergeant, so I appreciate you. I know what it is. The school teachers and the project coordinators, and they're the clogs in that wheel that really make that Corps movement move. And I think that if the elected officials could multitask like our work supervisors, then we could really get things done in this country. But when I first started in the Corps movement, it was just a job for me. But thanks to my previous work with the Boy Scouts of America, I soon embraced that environmental goals of the work and the seamlessly entwined with our mission of preserving the nation's most precious resource, and that was the young people. That was the Corps member. I met David, like he said, the first day on the job, and David has been there all this time. You know, just because I have gray hairs, look at his. He's got them too. My personal belief has always been that if you give credit to the Corps members, it filters up to the chain in a lot of ways. The Corps members are really the unsung heroes of our work, and we constantly should be trying to be good role models for them. The days when an ex-Corps member come back and visit us and tell us about what they do, they're in business for themselves, they make more money for themselves, they're elected officials, they're doing all the things that a good citizen should be, and being good role models for their family and the rest of the community. That's what it's all about. And you know, they've moved on to better things. Some of these folks are probably making more money than all our combined salaries. But you know, that's good. That's what it should be, because you always want your kids to do better than what you did. I have had a lot of highlights while I've worked with the Corps. I think the highlights that I probably can say that I'm more proud of is watching young people, because I started traveling. I was in another country where there was a whole different set of beliefs, religion, and all that. And so I always thought it's important that young people get to express that and learn about that. So having these folks go to other countries and do that work has always been one of the highlights. The other one is watching them as they introduce me to their children and being just a good parent. You know, taking the classes on how not to be an abusive person and how to be a good role model for your children. Those are important things that we don't get credit for, but we do make a difference. We do make a difference. So I take pride in knowing that I've helped a lot of young people. In the last 20 years or so, 35 years, I've been trying to work myself out of a job. And the worst thing that I've ever had happen is that I was in a meeting and there was some funding being cut, and not our core movement, but somebody else said that, you know, well, I'm really worried because we're going to be out of a job. And it just really ticked me off. And you know how I get when I get ticked off, so my hand went up. And I said, you know, I thought that's what we were supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be trying to work ourselves out of a job. And that's what we should be doing, because the day that we have no more core movement, then we have young people that are good citizens, they're good parents, and they're good role models. And with that, I would like to say one more last thing. Today, as I was walking around early this morning, the Martin Luther King Memorial, which is the first time I visited, and you should go visit it, I read something that I thought, you know, really kind of touched me. And the ultimate of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenges and controversy. So go to that memorial and read about that and think about that. Good night.
Thank you, Sam. That was wonderful. And thank you, Bruce. One of the real pleasures for me in the last 2 years in working with this coalition that Sam mentioned has been getting to know SCA, which is really a fantastic organization with a lot of really wonderful, wonderful people who work there, who've become colleagues and people that I admire and I've learned from and I've had a lot of fun with. And what I'd like to do is introduce the great leader of SCA, Dale Penny. And if you don't know Dale, you should try to get to know him. He's been leading this organization through incredible growth and done some amazing things there. Dale Penny.
Thank you. Well, it's a real privilege for me to be here tonight. I tell you, the highlight of today was watching the video of the Corps members. That was, we could have closed shop as far as I'm concerned after that. And I couldn't help think of Liz Titus Putnam, who I want to introduce here through that, because something that I've heard her say many times, that is never doubt the power, the capacity, the courage, and the commitment of young people to make a difference. We all know that in this room. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't work in the Corps movement. We wouldn't be part of national and community service. I don't know what we would do with our lives, but we wouldn't be here. But 55 years ago, that wasn't necessarily the way people thought about young people. In many cases, they were thought, even by our federal agency partners, they thought that young people were just they got in the way of doing real and meaningful work. And then came a young woman, a college student, who read an article and was inspired to do something about protecting our national parks and our public lands in this country. Liz Cushman, now Putnam, created the Student Conservation Corps, now SCA, not to do something nice for young people. She created it to do something important for this nation and to engage young people in making a meaningful difference. To do that, what she did was she reached back to the old CCC and she tapped the spirit of the CCC. She reignited that spirit in SCA, and she ignited the flame that we call the Conservation Corps movement, the Corps movement today. In fact, she launched what is now the National and Community Service movement in doing that. And by doing so, because she was just a college student herself, she personified the very values, the very spirit, the very capacity that we saw in those videos this afternoon of those Corps members. And that is a string that you can tie from Liz as a college student writing her thesis to those videos that we saw in those young people today. 2 years ago, I was really honored to accompany Liz and her husband Bruce to the White House when President Obama presented her the Presidential Citizens Medal for her work in launching SCA and the Corps movement. And tonight, because none of us would be here unless she had done that, I am equally proud to present her this Corps Legacy Award.
All I can say is, it makes me need to. And that's terrible. Thank you. This isn't because I've gotten older. I guess it adds to it. But there's a few other things that kind of goes along with it. But first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for your incredibly warm and generous welcome. And Dale, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I am so honored to join you on this special evening, but humbled by the nature of this invitation. I suppose I should explain first the obvious limits on my mobility, which I have been told will only be temporary. On a beautiful day last month, I had the questionable judgment to try and get on a horse to ride bareback. Before I got completely on board, the horse decided, hell no, and spun around and galloped for home. I hit the ground, fracturing my pelvis in 4 places. But talk about demonstrating impact, you know? Gotta keep it in the family. Needless to say, I am so happy to be here with you all tonight. And I want to acknowledge and thank my, where is she? My wonderful escort, Monique Daly, a multi-year SCA alumni. I gather Monique has been involved with SCA 16 years. She's 17 years old, so you can see. Anyway, you can see, and right now, she has just joined the SCA staff here in Washington, D.C., and is just one example of the thousands of talented, passionate individuals devoting their lives to conservation as a result of their Corps experience. It is wonderful to see the many representatives of the Corps community here this evening. And we are delighted to be here to celebrate the fact that we all are committed to the service and the work that we all do. And it is essential to our country and to our planet. The Corps make essential contributions to the protection and the restoration of public lands, build citizenships, as we've been hearing earlier from what you have been saying, by imparting the value of leadership and stewardship in our young people all across the country. We are truly building the next generation of conservation leaders, as we simultaneously strengthen the American landscape and the American economy. There simply is no better return on investment than the Conservation Corps movement. Congratulations to us all. But over 50 years ago, there was no Corps movement. In fact, there was no National Service movement. There was no Peace Corps, no VISTA, no AmeriCorps. As an interdepartmental conservation major at Vassar College in 1953, I learned much about the Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC, and the National Park Service. But perhaps nothing I read has had a more impact on me than that one article by the historian Bernard DeVoto, entitled, "Let's Close Our National Parks." Funding for managing these lands had not kept pace with their booming popularity, and in DeVoto's words, our magnificent parks were at risk of being loved to death. DeVoto recommended locking up our national parks, putting the Army around them until Congress could allocate sufficient funds. Let's wake the public up. That article planted quite an image in my mind, but it planted a seed. I felt there must be a better solution. And in 1954, I wrote my senior college thesis on a proposal for a student conservation corps, a modern-day CCC, believing that young people would welcome the opportunity to volunteer their services for our national parks. I knew I would. I would love to do this. What an opportunity. But there was no such opportunity. Without going into details, after graduation, it did take 2 years of hard work to make what was to become the Student Conservation Association a reality. And in 1957, along with my colleague Martha Hayne Talbot and many supporters, we succeeded in fielding the first SCA members, 53 strong, at Grand Teton and Olympic National Parks, ages of 15 to 52. SCA continued to, SCA continued to grow and mature, but not without its challenges. However, we built new partnerships, put more programs in the field, and impacted more young people. But along the way, Senator Henry Scoop Jackson, with a vision he was renowned for, and after several visits to SCA crews at Olympic National Park, he conceived of a program that eventually became the Youth Conservation Corps, the YCC. SCA was asked to testify for this legislation. I was honored to join the SCA team to travel to DC to support Senator Jackson's vision. I just would like to share just a very quick little adding on that one here. Among others, there were 3 reasons why some legislators felt there should not be a YCC. 1, the statement was, all work on public lands must be done by professionals, period. 2, no young person would be interested in this type of activity anyway, so why worry about it? And 3, obviously, no girls would be allowed to participate because they couldn't, wouldn't, and shouldn't, period. I mean, therefore, no YCC. Couldn't be simpler. However, SCA had been in operation at that point for 13 years. So the track record refuted all 3 of those negative points. So things do happen. You never know the reasons why, but things do happen. Thank heavens. The movement did continue to grow, and as young people demonstrated their impact in parks and forests, many other conservation corps sprung up on a local and regional level, including many of those who are here this evening. Since then, SCA has grown to partner with many other resource management agencies, municipal park departments, corporate sustainability offices, environmental nonprofits, and with the Greater Yellowstone Recovery Corps in 1989, the Corps movement itself. And I must state with great pride my own service as a Corps member at Yellowstone. I have never been so dirty in my life. It was wonderful. Never had such fun or felt such a sense of accomplishment. It was just wonderful. SEA has also pioneered urban conservation programs, engaging underrepresented youth and forging a more inclusive conservation community, an innovation recognized by the U.S. Conference of Mayors, among many others. Along the way, SCA has provided more than 65,000 diverse young adults with connections to nature, job experience, and an enduring ethic of conservation. But today, with inspiring young stewards like Monique, and our core members of the year, you're fabulous. Congratulations, every single one of you. And dedicated heroes like Sam Durham and Bruce Saito. We stand united as conservation service makes our public lands healthier and our young people stronger. And in this collaborative spirit, I invite you all to celebrate this Legacy Achievement Award. We all share both a vital mission and a common heritage. And our collective legacy will be a better planet for all. And I must admit, I can't wait to see what we do next. I want to thank you very much, but I also want to thank the SCA, Dale Penny, the incredible staff, and everyone who has to do with any of these wonderful organizations, for what you are doing is what is giving the hope for our future. And this, never forget, even when we get feeling things are a little tough, things are a little challenging. But don't, as you well know, don't ever give up. And that's true for you young ones. Don't ever give up. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. And so remember, people can fall off of horses, but you learn along the route what you can do, or maybe what you shouldn't do. And then you hopefully can move on from there. So thank you. I'm deeply, deeply grateful for this incredible award today. Thank you.
If we can get all of the award recipients to come forward so we can get our photo op, please. Yeah, can you give it to them right there? Yeah. Give me a second. Is it good? Again, please give them another round of applause. And as we bring this program to a close, I just wanted to share with you a dream deferred but not denied. The Core Legacy Achievement Award is now reality. Some 6, 7, 8 months ago, the Planning Committee, along with the other Board of Directors, came up with this great idea of trying to continue the connectivity with our individuals who were the forerunners in this organization. So again, it was a dream deferred but not denied, and now it's reality. So I would say hats off to the entire Planning Committee and also the additional to the Board of Directors as well. At this time, I want to bring this to your attention tomorrow morning. Of course, breakfast will start promptly at 8:30 a.m. And also the plenary session will start at 9 a.m. sharp, and we will be giving out 4 door prizes. So please, you must be in your seat in order to receive those door prizes. Do we have any other announcements, Rob, before we actually close out? If not, please enjoy the remainder of your evening.